the January 20th meeting of the Rules, Confirmations, and Public Elections Committee. We have a quorum with myself, Councilmember Druffel, Vice Chair Evans, Councilmember Rutherford, and Councilmember Spain. I think there are at least a few others on their way. I'm going to do actually, we do have some public comment sign up. We have 4 people signed up for public comment. Vice Chair, can I get you to help with time on this?
Of course.
Thank you. I did not bring cards or anything for holding up, but maybe we can give them a signal when they're getting close to 2 minutes. All right. They are all speaking on Resolution 2025-1712 in support. I believe, yes. The first speaker is Levi Shutt. Is that right? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Shutt, you can stand here, or
I'll just stand here.
okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I'll give you that.
And
for
you have
okay.
1 minute left, and then it'll go off.
Okay. Okay. Hi, my name's Levi Schultz. I'm a constituent of District 18 and a member of Transit Now Nashville. I'm speaking in support of Councilmember Porterfield's resolution RS 2025-1712. The Boring Company has acted fundamentally in bad faith, negotiating with the state to circumvent our elected officials and, more importantly, the city of Nashville. TBC, or the Boring Company, has only spoken to some council members and more often chooses to ignore us. Only after Councilmember Porterfield's resolution was filed has TBC reached out to necessary council members and boards regarding their operations in our city. It is clear from their poorly conceived plans and conduct with the city of Nashville that they are not interested in serving us. Rather, they are using us as a testing ground due to our willing leaders at the state level. Nashville does not want to put traffic underground. We voted overwhelmingly in favor of real mass transit solutions like frequent prioritized bus service or bus rapid transit along the Murfreesboro Pike corridor, which is the busiest in the state, connecting downtown to the airport. Nashville must embrace real transit solutions, not pipe dreams that are unproven, unsafe, and a distraction from real solutions. Thanks.
Thank you. And next we have Jack. I'm
Slagle like bagel.
Slagle?
Like bagel, yes.
Okay, Slagle.
Thank you.
Hang on 1 second. Let me reconvene
Of course,
on
of
my
course.
phone situation here to make sure.
I'm not going to be able to eat a bagel anymore.
They're great.
All right.
You are.
Council members, thank you for your time. I'm also rising in support of Councilmember Porterfield's resolution, RS 2025-1712. I believe that we need to seriously consider what is actually on offer with this transformative private transportation project that's being presented in front of us. There are a lot of unanswered questions about this, and in the spirit of keeping things brief, I will just tell you I'm a former Tesla employee. I'm very intimately familiar with how those cars work and some of the benefits, but also some of the risks considered. And if I just bring one thing to your attention, it is that the Boring Companies, none of their public communications has adequately addressed the risk of fire in those tunnels. The fire prevention standard that they specifically cite is not designed for road tunnels. It is actually designed for underground subways. This is a different thing. There are different standards for different reasons. To date, 24 people have actually died in fires relating to the door handles not being able to open from Teslas. The company has said that there is a fix in the process, but they have given no indication on when exactly that's going to be pushed. This whole thing feels like a science experiment. I live off of East Thompson and Murfreesboro Road, and I was surprised as anyone to hear that there was going to be a Tesla tunnel in my neighborhood. I want there to be more electrified transportation. I want there to be real transit solutions, though. And simply put, this is not ripe. The plans that are being offered here do not seem to be fulsome considered. It doesn't seem that these have really run through the proper vetting channels, and I think you should support the resolution until those are addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Manon like Cannon Hall is next. RS 2025-1712 in support.
Yeah, my concerns are mainly with like the great statements that are being made, and I want to read the statement that the CEO stated. He said, "We shouldn't go into a city and fight to build something that is so extensive and labor intensive and an incredibly difficult project." Oh, there's my timer on it. Slagle like bagel. We are still going because everyone has believed has been unbelievably positive, and unbelievably positive is not what I've seen from Nashvillians when it comes to their experience interacting with the Boring Company, and I would say unbelievably critical, unbelievably asking of questions, and that's why I'm asking for this to be moved from committee and go to the floor, because I want a public discourse and discussion around the people of Nashville's thoughts and beliefs when it comes to this project. I think there's a lot to be promised, and we've not seen it delivered elsewhere, and I think I'm glad that they're reaching out in public, PR moves, but I really want to see them come to the table, and it looks like now we're going to finally have them come to the table. But I think continuing on with this resolution, stating that we don't think they're acting in good faith is appropriate. Thank you.
And last is it Shawnee Latvian?
I was trying to see,
Does
I
that
don't have a rhyme. My name is Shawnee Glapion of District 8. Please vote in favor of RS 2025-1712. The Boring Company has not been transparent about the Music City Loop despite claims of community support. Nashville voters approved higher taxes for public transportation that serves workers, senior students, and people with disabilities, not private projects with unclear impacts. We deserve honesty, accountability, and community-centered transit solutions. I encourage you to support the resolution as well.
Thank you. All right. We appreciate our public commenters giving us their perspective on the resolution. I'm going to do a consent agenda. I'm assuming that we're taking this 1712 off. It's not going to be on consent. Is that accurate? All right. So on consent, I'll read them, and if I need to pull any others off, let me know. RS 2026-1720, a resolution approving the election of certain notaries public for Davidson County, sponsored by Cash. RS 2026-1760, a resolution honoring the life of acclaimed guitarist, songwriter, and producer Steve Cropper, sponsored by Vo. RS 2026-1761, a resolution requesting that the Tennessee General Assembly authorize the honorary naming of a portion of Nolensville Pike as Commander Anthony McLean Memorial Highway. RS 2026-1762, a resolution honoring the service of Mina Johnson, the outgoing president of Sister Cities of Nashville. RS 2026-1763, a resolution recognizing Vanderbilt University football team for its historic 10-win season. By Toombs, Gregg, and others. RS 2026-1764, a resolution recognizing January 2026 as Dry January USA Month in Nashville and Davidson County. And RS 2026-1765, a resolution honoring the 90th anniversary of John Early Museum Magnet Middle School sponsors Swara Kupin and others. Do I need to remove any of those from the consent agenda? Can I get a motion to move the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
All in favor of the consent agenda?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? All right, so we approved all those 5-0. All right, so let's go back to RS 2025-1712, a resolution opposing the Boring Company's proposed tunnels within Nashville and Davidson County, condemning the company's lack of transparency, inadequate community and Metropolitan Council engagement, and troubling labor and safety practices, affirming the public land and public infrastructure decisions must prioritize the welfare, safety, and expressed needs of Nashville's residents, and reiterating the Metropolitan Council's commitment to real, equitable, community-driven transit solutions by Porterfield, Toombs, and others. How do we want to proceed? Is there a committee member that wants to, do we want to move the resolution? can I get a motion to move the resolution so we
So
can
moved.
discuss it?
So moved.
Second.
All right. I'll ask the sponsor to speak, but I want to see if committee members want to, you want to go ahead.
I would love to speak
Councilmember
after,
Porterfield.
thank you, Chair. I would love to hear the conversation of the committee and then speak on it before the vote if possible.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
May I start?
Councilmember
Okay.
Vice Chair Evans.
thank you. I missed last meeting because of the quorum. I did get a chance to go back and listen to the meeting. I guess I'm kind of wondering where we are now, because we deferred it for one meeting. The question, we had it was deferred. We're kind of in an awkward position in the sense that there's like a path to at least hear from the company, and I'm wanting to know, it almost feels like it doesn't feel like the best discussion to me right now, considering, because I would like to be able to attend that meeting. I'd like to be able to socialize, getting questions, from residents. I'd like to be able to submit them. I'd like to see, all those things. I'd like to see all those things happen. And I think that the great outcome about this discussion so far is it has prompted this opportunity, is how it feels to me. I don't like it's an opportunity to get some public face time with this organization and get some of those questions that people have already had clarified. And so I'm feeling like I would be in opposition if we vote on it tonight, because we had this meeting. Let's go to it. If we're still in the same position and we don't feel like we have questions answered, or we're not feeling like it's a good thing, or we still need to go forward, then I would probably be leaning more in support. But that's kind of where I am, I guess, after the information that we've gotten so far.
That's kind of where I am too. I was okay with deferring before to see, and I didn't say a lot, but I asked different committee members like what they hope to see out of it, and I think the public meeting that has now been scheduled was the kind of the sign that we got something happened in between that meeting and now. So I'm pleased with that we have something scheduled. At the same time, in between that meeting and this meeting, I've talked to constituents, and I'm having trouble finding support for not necessarily the resolution, but the plan, the Boring Company's plan overall. And a month ago, I was like, they need to come to a public meeting, communicate with us, and I feel like since then I've added a conclusion that they need to sell this to the city, because there's a lot of, there are some folks that are kind of politically, not trusting for political reasons, and there are some that just don't trust it because they know what the limestone in Middle Tennessee is like. There are some that just they're just not getting it, and that it's a seemingly not seemingly, but there's a lot of monopolistic aspect to it, since it's one company. And can it help in some way? I think there's that chance, but I don't know that it's a good precedent to. Anyway, so I'm a little torn too. Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of dovetailing on that, I want to understand more about the, depending on what the follow-up, whatever's presented in transportation, then how does that dovetail with NDOT, Choose How You Move, some of the decisions that maybe were, I'll use the loose word of committed, during the campaign for Choose How You Move. And now, what's being slowed down as a result of this project, if anything? How, what's that impact like? And so anyway, it feels like there's opportunity to refine maybe the message of the resolution, because I think there's a lot of really good stuff in there. I struggle with the use of the word condemnation at this stage, because they haven't come to us yet, now they're going to. And so if we still feel strongly about condemning, after that meeting, then I'd probably be, like I said, more in support of it.
Councilmember Spain.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with everything that's been said. I think our purpose in the deferral at our last meeting was to sort of put the company on notice that the council wanted this conversation to take place in the open with the body as a whole. And I appreciate the sponsor for bringing the resolution and leading to that outcome. It sounds like, as we heard earlier today, that we're going to have a special meeting of transportation for this purpose. So given that, I feel like we need to give room for that conversation to happen. I certainly agree that there's a lot of us still need to be convinced of a lot of pieces of this. But I think passing a resolution that uses language like opposing and condemning doesn't really lay the foundation for us to have a full and open conversation. And I also agree I agree with the majority of the language in the resolution, all the requests for information and meetings and all that sort of thing. So I think maybe an amendment or a substitute that sort of sets the parameters around that conversation might be in order. And then, as was said, if after that meeting takes place, the body feels the need to go on record with a position, then we certainly have the ability to do so. So that's just kind of where I am.
I agree. I think it's too early to say condemn. I think now that there's potential interaction, I always like to seek to understand and be understood a little bit more. And I think that's a place where we haven't gotten to yet. Now, it took some time in Council Porterfield's position on here, but I'd like to hear more and get involved in the transportation and like just ditto what you guys are saying. If it comes after that, we're not getting what we want and the information we want, then there's a position to do that. But to me, it's premature to say that right now. So I think we should wait.
Councilmember Rutherford.
I agree with everything that's been said here by the members of the committee. But one thing I would like to add is that I believe that the meeting on February 19th that's on the books with the Boring Company is happening in large part due to the fact that this resolution exists. And so we owe that to the sponsor for bringing it forward, which has turned this into what's happening and what we're seeing. And so I commend the sponsor for doing that. I also agree with the vast majority of the sentiment that is in the resolution. I think that we need to have a conversation with the Boring Company. The Boring Company needs to meet with us, and now they've agreed to, finally. We've been wanting them to meet with us from the very beginning. And so this is our opportunity. The meeting is on the books. This is our opportunity to show up as council members, throw the questions at them that we want to get answers to, the demands that we have of them as to what their plans are, the safety, all the concerns that have been brought up. But I think it would be a mistake to pass this resolution now. I think after the meeting takes place on February 19th, I think then that could be a different story. If we don't like what we're seeing and hearing from them at that time, then that's the time to reassess and decide whether or not we want to go forward with such a resolution. Whether it's this one, an amended version of this one, or a different one, whatever the case may be. But I just don't think it's appropriate to pass this now. And I think the best option for us now is to defer it until after that meeting. Looking at the calendar, that would be a 3-meeting deferral so that it comes back to us after the meeting. And so that's my motion. I move a 3-meeting deferral.
So the meeting on the Monday, is the February 19th a Monday?
No, it's a Thursday.
It's a Thursday
after
after our second meeting, so it would need a
First week in
3-meeting.
March, would that,
Right.
are you?
That would be to the first meeting in
Sorry,
March.
one at a time. Okay.
So the specific would be to the 3rd of March, if I'm correct.
That's my motion.
Second.
And I kind of want to ask staff, that's not an automatic deferral. That would still be
No, so this isn't,
on the floor. We
Yeah.
would still be able to discuss it.
exactly.
Okay, Councilmember Porterfield?
Thank you for recognizing me, Chair. I will be extremely brief. I know we have a lot of business before us tonight. I appreciate the thoughtful consideration and deliberation. I do understand the desire to wait and vote on this legislation after we've had the meeting with the Boring Committee, the Boring Company. I am glad that they have finally decided to engage with the body to come before us in a meeting. As you all are aware, these requests started back in August when we heard publicly through the press conference that this was happening without the engagement of local leaders. Since the last council meeting, I've heard whispers out in the hallway that apparently the Boring Company has still selectively reached out to council members and had conversations. As a sponsor of the legislation, I didn't hear anything until I got an email from the Boring Company last night at 9:25 p.m. So apparently, for whatever reason, they are still picking and choosing who they would like to engage with. So I am thankful that they responded to the request for a meeting. I do think that it will be in our best interest to wait and vote on this legislation after we've had the opportunity to hear from them and to bring the concerns and the concerns of our constituents. But I also want to reiterate that anyone that is doing business with this city needs to do so with transparency and in good faith. And it is not in good faith to work around the sponsor of legislation. It is not in good faith to wait until the night before, not even 12 hours before a committee meeting to reach out to a sponsor. And again, that wasn't even me as a sponsor. It was just a general email that I'm sure other people probably got as well. So I would like to see the Boring Company act with more integrity and in good faith in engaging with us. This is a huge project. This will be the longest tunnel, whatever the statistic is, like the longest, is it the longest tunnel in North America?
Longest road tunnel in the Western Hemisphere.
And that is a huge deal. And, you know, we need to have a conversation about, does Nashville need to be the guinea pig? You know, we heard from the CEO that there was no opposition, while we know that there was opposition when people came out and spoke at that press conference. So again, I understand the desire to defer this 3 meetings. I'm not going to fight a deferral. I do think that we need to hear from them. I will keep an open mind, as I always do keep an open mind when we are having meetings and hearing from individuals. I will keep an open mind, but I don't have a lot of faith.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
If I might, I appreciate everything that the sponsor is saying, and actually you expressing those concerns makes me think that that's a considerable amount of time between now and that first meeting in March. Though I have faith that the meeting on February 19th will occur, because it is on the books, and but in the event that there's information that comes to us between now and then that we may need to address, that may trigger us to change our thinking and maybe move forward with this, I think we would be better served by a deferral that is not as long, so that we have the opportunity to address things in the interim that may come up. I'm not saying they will, but it's the possibility. So I'd like to amend my motion to a 1 meeting deferral instead of 3.
Second.
Would another deferral be an indefinite deferral though? Because this is the second deferral, right?
This is the second one, so this shouldn't be.
So the next one deferred to March 3rd would not cause any, like an indefinite? Okay, just want to make sure that the rules are.
I'm sorry, what was your answer to his question? Who? You
The-
got it?
The question I have is, this would be a second deferral, then we defer it again in the February meeting, 1 meeting deferral. Is that third deferral then become an indefinite deferral? I just want to make sure the rules are correct.
So the third deferral is not the indefinite deferral. It would be the fourth one that
Fourth one.
defers
Okay,
it indefinitely.
So
we
we're
can do
okay
3
on the
without
second.
having a problem. Okay, I just want to make sure we have 3 without a problem, so I'm okay.
Yes, we do have other things on it.
Oh, okay.
So-
I just wanted to piggyback, I guess, on that, or the discussion around the deferral, which I'm not opposed to that either. and I'm wondering if the sponsor would entertain a substitute kind of on deck to, like, I have a problem with the word condemnation at this point. That you could potentially socialize kind of in advance, or not in advance, but in alignment with the next meeting, that maybe changes that language. I'm just thinking about if we had to vote on something, you know, if there's a lot of the language that we like,
Agreed.
and I'm stuck on condemnation, you know, like, is there the potential of a substitute or an amendment or something like that? I don't know, that's just my initial thought. If for some reason the company came back and said, we're canceling this meeting, or, you know, whatever, to the point about the one meeting deferral. And I got affirmative nods from the sponsor.
Oh,
Are you thinking out loud, or are you asking someone a question?
Okay.
Yes.
so I think that was a question directed at me.
Yes.
So I stand firm in the condemnation based
Okay.
on the information that has been presented in the resolution. I think that all of those are worthy of condemnation. I am open to, once we hear from the Boring Company, if there are other considerations, I am open at that point in time. But at this point in time, I would probably speak against a substitute at this point in time. But it's very speculative since we don't know what information is going to be uncovered in the meeting. And I know the assumption by certain individuals is that I have a certain position. And I do have a position at this point in time of condemnation, but I am open to information. So if there is information that changes my position, I am open to having that conversation. But at this point in time, I am standing firm in condemnation.
Okay, thank you.
All right, are we ready to vote?
This is a motion for a one meeting deferral,
Yes.
as amended by John, right?
Yes.
Councilmember Sepulveda.
Sorry. Thank you, Chair. Sorry, I'm late. So I missed the conversation. So we're on a one meeting deferral. Okay. Just because I'm late and I wanted to give my opinion. My opinion has not changed since the last time we were here. I was against the deferral at the last committee meeting, and I'm against a deferral now, just because we're sitting in the same position we were at our last meeting, in which they decided to email us right before our council meeting, which is disrespectful. I still have questions as to what permits have been given from our department, right? As our colleague informed us, the water department apparently gave a permit to the Boring Company. I still have several concerns in regards to wage theft allegations and safety concerns from workers and contractors who are currently on that project. And because of that, I will be voting against the deferral, and I would encourage this committee to allow it to go to the entire floor so we could actually have this conversation.
Anyone else? All right, we have a motion for a one meeting deferral. All in favor of the one meeting, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, all in favor of the one meeting deferral?
Aye.
4.
Five.
I'm sorry?
5.
5, all right. I'm gonna vote in favor of the deferral, against. And that's 7. All right, thank you, everybody, good discussion. Appreciate this, considering stuff carefully. All right, we now have, we're not, Councilmember, we're not that close. We still haven't, is there, we have Councilmember Evan Siegel here, who has the last item on our agenda, which is a rule change that has been before us before. Once it was deferred by rule and once it was deferred again. Is there any objection to going ahead and taking that? I'm sorry, y'all, those are here for interviews, but since you're here, you want to speak to it's item 19, Rule 9.3, Amendment to Rules of Procedure, Rule 9.3, Introduction of Legislation. 9.3, all ordinances on first reading shall be considered by the council in one vote. An ordinance on first reading may be considered separately if during, I think I'm reading the whole, anyway, you want to, I don't think I need to read the whole of the text of it.
Thank you for letting me speak, even though I'm not on the committee. Well, y'all have to move it, I guess, first.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Yeah, if you could like speak to what's the change here?
Yeah, the change here, when we changed the rules to pull stuff off of first, we said that 2 people had to agree. Y'all may recall Councilmember Ewing had one where she had to abstain from, so she had to actually abstain from the entire first reading. This would just allow a member to say they're gonna pull something just so they can abstain, so when there are conflicts of interest, somebody doesn't have to abstain from the entire of the first reading. There may be things that they wanna be on record for voting on, and this would just, it's, you know, it is a self-reporting system. Somebody would have to say they were gonna abstain, and they'd actually have to do it, and if they didn't, then that's where we might have to clean up, and so I recognize that could be an issue, but I think that's a better solution than making somebody abstain from an entire first reading just to abstain from something they may have a conflict on.
I think that's fair. I guess my only question is in the first part of it, what's underlined and added is during the consideration of first reading ordinances. That was in there, but it was in a different place, and now that there are multiple things, that was moved up to just kind of cover the whole of the rule, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And so, but does this request considered, or must be considered during the consideration? Okay. All right, I got it.
Makes sense.
Any other questions or comments?
Move it.
No, we've moved it. Are we ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? All right, thank you all. Thank you all for letting me move that. All right, now we're on a late item amendment, a late filed amendment to BL 2025-1115. It's an ordinance amending chapters 16.04 and 16.24 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws to require a fence permit for permanent fences to be constructed within Nashville and Davidson County. And so we're to speak of the late filed amendment, and I know we've deferred this bill at least once, and I guess my concern is, can you, are we gonna pull her in here?
I was gonna go grab her,
Okay,
yeah.
great. I know, that this is a bill that is not amendable on third, and it was on second reading, I think has been deferred twice. I will say while we're waiting, I'm generally in favor of this bill because I've just had a lot of fence and sign issues, and I think it kind of gives NDOT some authority to define what is a visibility issue and what is not. I don't think getting the fence permitted is gonna be a onerous task like building a house, but it does have some eyes and some accountability for if fences are built in a way that hurts visibility on the roadway, especially like corner fences, which has come up like, I think in the last couple of years, like over 24 times at the BZA. I know I was there on a fence, I've been there on at least 3 fence variance requests, and told the BZA that we were working on a fence bill, and they were thankful that maybe that would be taken off their plate. And I kind of got to a point where I felt like, great.
Stop filling
I got
time.
I got to a point where I felt like it was not the best way to deal with fence issues at the BZA, because they were kind of looking at pro and con, and were not experts, as was I not an expert on what causes a visibility issue. All right, I'm sorry. Can we move this? I should have done that.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
All right. Councilmember Vo, you've got a late filed amendment. Can you speak to, I kind of waiting on you, I kind of talked about the bill in general. What does this do and why is it late filed?
Yes, thank you so much, Chair. I just want to let you all know that it's a late file because there's a, basically a text mistake. It was supposed to say opaque fences that are more than 50%, like opaque, not less than. Because the focus is obviously, we are not trying to make it more bureaucratic. It's just for fences that are more than 50% opaque that you cannot see regarding visibility. And so that was just the change there. And then just for everyone, like we're working, I'm working very closely with codes, and we are not gonna make people do like a site plan. We are gonna try to do like e-permits. You read like what the law is and sign off, and then we are gonna try out like, if does that work? Is it improving? Are we seeing less cases at BZA, things like that? And so for me, I think this is a good next step in improving the legislation regarding fences.
All right, any discussion?
Just
Yes.
a clarifying question, and I don't expect you to fully be able to answer this, but I'm curious as to how we measure the level of visibility. Like how will we be able to measure like this particular fence using these building materials has an opaqueness of 30%? Like how exactly?
From my understanding, what I have learned is basically like when you're talking about chain link fences, those do not hit the opaque threshold. We're talking about fences you cannot see through. I think that when we say more than 50%, you know, for example, my fence, you can see through like the wood pieces, but I think for me, when we talk about opaque fences, you cannot see through them. Like if you're at a corner, you are unable to like see through like the yard and the road. And I can get like specific, more details like from code specifically if that will help. But yeah, I think the biggest issues were the ones that you cannot see through.
That's fair. And then what reading is this bill on?
It's on second.
Okay.
And I already, it's not amendable on third.
It's not amendable on third, that's correct.
And has been deferred twice already, right?
That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
Those are my questions.
All correct.
All right, any other questions or are we ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? And then there's still 7. Good. All right, thank you. All right, now thank you for your patience. We are to our Board and Commission appointees and nominees. We have 3 new folks to, some are being reappointed, but we have 3 interviews. I'm going to say to all of you, Mr. Poole, if you'll come on up for the Civil Service Commission. But I'm going to say, well, while he does that, I'm going to say we do have parking validation, the blue cards here, if you want that. We also have, I have 2 quick tickets that have $10 on them. You do not have to use them tonight. Just promise that if you take one, you'll use it. Some of you will be meeting downtown, and I think taking the bus downtown is a good move. If you'll.
We judge you on your pick.
Do we, am I here, am I scooting back, or?
You're fine right there. If you want to scoot back a little bit, that's fine.
Get a more panoramic view.
I put it there when nobody was in here. All right, so you are up for, this is an appointment, not a reappointment. So why are you interested in the Civil Service Commission? If you'll tell us a little bit about that, if you have some kind of ideas of stuff that you either want to accomplish or areas of interest. I think a lot of times we'll ask if you have the time to do it. And so if you want to kind of speak to that broadly.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Quan Poole. I'm an attorney here in Nashville. I moved to Nashville in 2017 to work for the Metro Legal Department. And I worked for Metro Legal for 3.5 years before going into private practice. And so at that time, the boards that I was responsible for advising were the Planning Commission, the BZA, Metro Codes, and at one point the Health Department. And so I think I actually know the answer to your fence question, but I don't want to speak to how I know how it was measured at one point in time through my time working at Codes. But when I left for private practice, there was generally a desire to want to be involved in government. I took a lot of pride in working with Metro Legal. I think the issues that we worked on there, the complexity, it touches on everything in our community. And so I was I was a board member of Walk Bike Nashville, so very familiar with the quick tickets. And I think at that time my plate was a little too full to join another board. Over the last year, I've rolled off of the Walk Bike Nashville board, and so I've had more time on my hand and wanting to fill that void with a Metro board. I think it's important. I was always very gracious of the board members that were on the commissions that I saw, because there were a lot of late meetings and not much thanks. And so I think it's important for us to be involved in that way. I don't have any specific ideas for the Civil Service Commission. I know it's a very important function, and setting the pay plan and hearing disciplinary actions for Metro employees. And I only went before them once for a termination hearing during my time at Metro Legal, but I did have an opportunity to see the commission up close and in person, and it'd definitely be one that I'd be interested in serving on.
All right, any questions? No. All right. Yep, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your willingness to serve. I do appreciate your legal background and your previous experience with Metro Legal. You're potentially going to be working with several different cases before you, right? And several issues that require your attention, and I want to make sure, because we already have the legal side already taken care of, and I want to make sure that things aren't getting easier, right? We've had many issues with directors recently, and concerns about pay plans and concerns about specific benefits, and I want to know your thought process when approaching these subjects specifically.
Well, I think actually one of the benefits to me of being on the commission is that I get to take off the legal hat. I think I will not ignore my legal background, and I think that's a requirement of the commission to have a practicing attorney, but I am not the attorney for the board or the commission. I think having that representative there to advise us when we're debating or discussing the right things is important, and if we're getting somewhere up left field, for them to let us know and for us to honor that and making sure that we are considering things that are germane to the topic. In terms of how I will approach the issue, there's so much to be said about just preparation. I think that we all get busy, but a lot of times you can tell when someone's kind of put in the work ahead of time, and so you always want to do that. And so I think it starts before the meeting, making sure that you're familiar with the agenda and the record that's in front of you. But not just that, I think live testimony, in-person conversation is important. So even though you've done your due diligence and you've reviewed the record and are knowledgeable on the front end, there's a reason that we have debate. I think there's a reason that we have this discourse to listen to your fellow members, listen to the people in front of you, and if they say something that either conflicts with the record or that persuades you a different way, then you listen to that. So I think that's how I've been in life, and I think that's how it would be on the commission.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thanks. Anyone else? All right. All in favor of Quan Poole for the Civil Service Commission?
Aye.
Any against? Any not voting? 7-0. Thank you, sir. Don't forget your options up here.
Yeah, thanks.
Long time no see. Right,
How are you?
Maury Hill for the Greenway and Open Space Commission. Come on down. Mr. Hill, this is a reappointment. I think you told me earlier that you took a term in the middle of a term. You got appointed in the middle of a term, and are now here for a full term. You're up,
That's right.
renominated for a full term. And so, if you want to tell us about your as I asked Mr. Poole, like if you've got some goals set, if you're finding that you've got the time for it, and maybe what would you like to do with another term?
Sure. So yeah, I was appointed at the very tail end of a term, so it was 8 to 10 months ago that I was in front of you. Really want to continue serving because I'm just now getting my feet wet in so many ways when these meetings are just every other month. But time commitment has not been a problem. I've really enjoyed it. I probably said similar things last time I was in front of you, but I think this is a pretty critical time for Greenways right now. Some recent news is Cindy Harrison, who oversees Greenways, the Parks Department, is retiring. She's certainly appreciate her years of service. That's also an exciting opportunity for somebody new to come in and interact with the commission in a new way, just fresh ideas. But I think Greenways are a little bit of, if you build it, they will come. It's a very popular thing. I think we could build one in the strangest place in the county, and people would be on it with strollers and bikes in no time. So I think it's critical to make sure we're communicating about it. There are some greenways in the works that I think the general public still is confused about, or it's taken way longer than they thought, and we get an update and they say, well, I thought that was already being built 3 years ago. That's been my experience so far. So I want to work on communication and also just making sure we get these built as efficiently as we can. I forget if there was another part of your question. I'm happy to answer any others.
I think you got it. Anyone else?
I have one question on the. I've been having more issues, I will say, with probably developments that were created well before the Greenways and Open Space Commission even existed, that really are kind of aligned with how kids get to school safely, where there are paths that have been created to kind of make some of that connectivity between subdivisions.
Right.
But in the end, they're not public paths. They're attached to an HOA, those kinds of things. Have you all had, this is a commission that I've not really spent a lot of time on or attended meetings or anything like that. What, do you all kind of interface some with NDOT and some of the planning side related to those kinds of topics about children and students in particular?
Yes, I mean, I know there's regular interfacing with NDOT. I'm not sure that children commuting to and from school has been a topic that's been raised in my brief time on the commission so far, but I think that's pretty important, and I think it touches on something that comes up regularly, which is, are these greenways for going on a nice walk or essentially a hike of sorts, or is it a transportation method? And that kind of touches on what your question is about, and I think that they should be both. If we run into some issue where there's too many commuters on a greenway, e-bikes or bikes or whatever it is, parents walking kids to school, that's a good problem to have and one that we can address down the line. But I don't think that's come up a ton, but I think that's important.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, one quick.
Yes, Councilman Rupp.
Yeah, I've dealt with parks in relation to greenways and safety concerns in particular because of an incident that happened in my district. Plus, there's a more recent incident that occurred as well. How much is safety in terms of the conversation around safety? How much does that reach the commission itself? With your experience, which I know is just less than a year, but still, Tell me about those conversations that might have taken place around safety.
Yeah, it's definitely been top of mind. I mean, it was very recently that someone was killed on a greenway, and then 2 days ago, there was another attack. Luckily, no fatalities, and the person got away. But same greenway, right, where it happened. I think that safety gets brought up a lot. I think safety should be thought of in a larger picture of safety in Nashville. I think inherently greenways or any sort of trail of any sorts get a little bit isolated. I think that's why people like them for a lot of reasons, and there will not be a practical way for us to enforce safety or have guards or protective fencing along these long greenways that go intentionally to some wooded and more remote areas. But I want everybody to feel safe on a greenway, whether it's a young female walking alone or somebody walking with their family, whatever it is. So safety comes up a lot, and I think if nothing else, we can use our platform and the popularity of the greenways in Nashville to make safety top of mind for everybody.
Side note, just if I may, because you mentioned the two different incidents and referenced the same greenway.
Is that not accurate?
Well, here's the thing, because
They were far
the
apart.
media has been reporting that it's the same greenway, and technically the two greenways have the same name. Okay, but they do not connect. There may be an intention to connect, but they do not connect, and those incidences were actually miles apart. And so there's a lot of misconception around that, and so I'm not sure if that is something that's been brought to the attention of the commission, if that is something that the commission would even address, or if that's just more, kick at the parks or whatever the case may be. But what are your thoughts on that?
No, that's a great point, and I do think much of the communication on this has come out of parks since it's a safety issue. But yes, that is correct. I know they're miles apart, and those greenways do not connect via greenway, at least maybe connect through sidewalks or other paths. I'd have to refresh my mind, but that's a great point, and I want to make sure that the commission.
They have the same name.
They have the same name.
They're all the Mill Creek Greenway, even though you cannot walk on a greenway from one to the other.
Right.
Yeah.
I will make sure the entire
It's
commission
just that they
is
happen to
familiar
both be along Mill Creek.
I saw someone who I think is one of your constituents bring the media to task over it.
Yeah,
Tuan and Chip.
Yes.
All right.
'Cause anyway, I'm not
All
going
right, are we
further.
ready? We're over. Are we ready to vote?
Yep.
All in favor of Maury Hill for a term on the Greenway and Open Space Commission expiring February 11th, 2029? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? And we're at 6 favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
All right, Transportation Licensing Commission reappointment of Ann Butterworth for the term expiring January 31st, 2028. And like Mr. Hill, Ms. Butterworth, this is a reappointment, so you've been on the Transportation Licensing Commission.
Obviously not there long enough to tick everybody off.
But you've got big goals, is what I'm hearing.
It just happens.
So you'll tell us about your, I guess, experience, but more about like if it's informing goals or interests for the future term.
I have thoroughly enjoyed serving so far. I am a retired governmental employee, worked for the state. Being a part of a citizen committee where you have very different viewpoints, but people are really committed to serving the city, and listening to y'all's discussion here today, it makes me feel proud to be a resident of Davidson County, because this is how government works. When people with different viewpoints can come into a room and listen to other viewpoints and reach a decision, even if it may not be the one they originally came in with. But I kind of rambled. But on the Transportation Licensing Commission, what I have observed so far is that the ordinances regulating the different areas, whether it is taxi cabs, or and transportainment vehicles, or different things are not always consistent. And we are dealing with a bunch of issues that probably y'all will be seeing some requests for clarification in the language. And particularly recently, what constitutes a name change or adding in a partner, where we've gotten into some very serious discussions and trying to figure out why we should focus on certain points, and making sure that the authority that you have granted to this commission, that we understand what you're trying to achieve with it, so that if we're to look at A, B, and C, we understand why that's important and why we shouldn't be looking at D for things. But I will tell you that the other members of the committee that y'all have approved, y'all made good choices.
Thank you. Any committee members? Yes.
I think I was listening to you guys, you had a very long meeting today.
Yes, I ran out right at the end.
Okay, because I was listening to deliberation.
Well, didn't run out. I actually drove, parked at my condo because I live downtown, and I walked here. Hence why
Okay. I was listening to a deliberation about, you all were considering taxi cabs. It sounded like in ADA accommodations, like
Well, it was,
approving.
The increase in the number of permits. And we had a long discussion because there are quite a few companies that came and said we do not need to expand, but they also have a lot of permits that they aren't currently using. And the whole, because of state legislation, we do not have authority over Uber and Lyft. We do have authority over Uber Black, but it's a very small segment of that area.
It was a very interesting conversation, and I was surprised at how long your meeting was going. It felt like it was going really long today, so I appreciate your service, because I know, kind of like our
Did
discussion
you hear our
about.
earlier discussion on our meeting date change?
I'm going back to listen to the whole thing. I can't wait to hear that
We
part.
used to meet on the third Thursday, but because of meeting room space, they moved us to the third Tuesday, and I'm retired, but many of my fellow committee members have jobs and had committed to a Thursday and are having some difficulty achieving Tuesday. But then Commissioner Rogers discussed whether we could have an evening meeting, and then whether we could have a dinner meeting, and then where we could meet. Did it have to be a Metro, or could it be one of our fine over-serving establishments in the downtown?
Well, thank you for being willing to continue.
Any other questions? Yes.
Not a question, just a comment. I don't know.
Hold on, I'm gonna leave.
I don't know anything about Ann's service on this commission, but I was fortunate enough to interact with her in her previous role with the Comptroller's Office, and she was extremely competent and well-respected, and clearly knows the inner workings of government bodies and regulations and all that good stuff very, very well, so I'm just very appreciative of her willingness to serve in this role.
Here, you can have
Anyone else? All right, ready to vote? All in favor of the reappointment of Ann Butterworth to the Transportation Licensing Commission for a term expiring January 31st, 2028? All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Any not voting? All right, thank you very much. All right, last, thank you for taking that. All right, so we've got the group that we interviewed last time. I'm gonna read the appointments and hopefully, and if we can vote on it as the consent agenda, that will save us a little time. But if there are any that need to come off after I've read it, I'll stop and see if anyone needs to come off for a separate vote, okay? All right, so the reappointment of Campbell West to the Arts Commission for a term expiring February 24th, 2030. Reappointment of Mayra Yu for a term expiring February 24th, 2030. For the Auditorium Commission, the appointment of, is that right? Yeah, for the Auditorium Commission, the appointment of Mia Vickers for a term expiring June 30th, 2027. For the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, the appointment of Matthew Cushing for a term expiring February 16th, 2028. And the Davidson County Historian, the appointment of Dr. Leah Rotha Williams Jr. for a term expiring December 16th, 2030. And for the Procurement Standards Board, the appointment of Raheem Buford for a term expiring October 4th, 2028. Do I need to pull any off for a separate vote? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? All righty, I think that covers it, and we're a little over, but, thank you for the good discussion.
Thank you.
We're adjourned.